Hey guys, my name is RyanCentral.
And my name is Miska.
And welcome to HitScan. We were preparing for the video that would be coming out tomorrow, as there is expected to be the big patch with ranked in it, but we of course got the majority of details today in a blog post. So we're going to go for it, give our reaction. But Miska, what is the new Valorant rank going to be? Because it's changing its name for the top rank.
Yeah, I was confused when you even just said that, so thank God they're changing the name. So, if you don't know, there was a lot of talk about changing the top rank in Valorant, as previously just having it be the name of the game was a little bit confusing. So now it's being called Radiant instead, and the icon's the same, they just made it a little bit shinier. And well, I guess speaking of making things shinier, they made all the icons a bit shinier, and I really like them. I don't know what you think, but overall I like this sort of, not just purely sort of embossed look, but a stylized look that combines them all and makes them all feel like they belong a bit more together. And I like that they changed the color of Immortal as well, because there was gold and then there was Immortal and Radiant or Valorant previously, which were all looking a little bit similar in terms of, you know, that yellow. So I'm liking this, looking good. And I mean, even the bronze one looks very flashy now. I like it.
I think with a lot of the stuff that we're about to talk about, just to sort of highlight some of the key things from this blog post, which came from Ian Bright Eyes Fielding, who is one of the senior producers and probably the main people behind it. The rank system is a work in progress. All of the feedback is necessary for them, so let us below in the comments if anything you hear in this video you like or don't like. But yeah, that's the main one, the Radiant ranking. But also a clear thing that they want to talk about is pre-mades and placement matches. In some occasions when I'm playing with Miska and a few other people that we usually play with, there was the thing that came up saying you can't play with these guys because there's too much of a skill disparity, where in reality it was probably, what, a couple of ranks away from each other. It wasn't going to be a big distance, right?
Yeah, well, only 1 or 2 ranks at most.
And this is a thing that the Riot devs spoke about, and it's quite interesting that they went in this direction of all of them. They put to quote, "You can now matchmake with your friends during placements even if they have a fairly large skill discrepancy to a certain extent." I really wish they could give like more of a specific example there, but if you're an elite player and your friend is still learning the ropes, like us two, I guess,
yeah,
our competitive matchmaking will still prevent you from being able to queue in order to protect the competitive integrity and experience for the other players in that match. It should be better, but it's still not. If you're in Immortal, you can't queue with a bronze 1.
I think the main takeaway there, though, is that there is at least the option for more people to be able to queue. Now, I guess they don't want to say exactly what that restriction is, because what I imagine it is, at least, is that you don't have a set hidden rank. You have your visual rank, and then you have your hidden MMR, which will, like in probably most other, at least, skill-based matchmaking games, be based on your performance and how you're doing. They've talked about this in Overwatch, for example, with the trend of your rating. So if you're doing really well, you'll be rated as someone that's probably below their current rank, rather than at a specific rank. That's probably why they aren't being specific here. All in all, though, I'm just happy to be able to queue with more people during those placement matches, because I know people that played fewer placement matches or didn't really play them at all until way later, and as a result ended up playing less ranked and less Valorant because they couldn't play with their friends throughout that whole experience. So I think it's important to be able to do that, and I think this encourages pre-making with friends a little bit more as well, which that's cool. I mean, that's what it's all about, right?
I think when it comes to more important stuff to mention, other than the fact that the system seems a lot more lenient for typical plebs, the 1% of players that are going to be in the Immortal and now Radiant ranks, stacking can be a bit of a problem. It can be exploited. People could just 5-stack their way to the highest ranks, and people like Mendo, for example, want to see it like a solo or duo queue instead of something more dynamic, as we're seeing. There was a bit of a response on this, not too much though. For Immortal and Radiant players, we've made improvements to our matchmaking, but we know for this specific tier of play, there is still a slight advantage, to being in a 5-stack versus playing solo in these top ranks. We are looking into tactics to help address this problem and plan to share more later this year. They do talk about the future of this system, which we'll go into shortly, but I think people are already complaining, oh yeah, Riot have no plans to try and fix this. They clearly say they do. It's just going to be a while before we see anything done for the higher tiers at least.
One thing that I know they brought up really early on, I don't remember if it was on a live stream or in an AMA or something like that, but they talked about long-term rank progression between the different sort of seasons, and we haven't really heard anything about that up until now. So under rank progression, we can see that in every Valorant act, which spans about 2 months, you'll have the opportunity to track your rank progress throughout the act. We will start tracking your rank progress as soon as we launch competitive with patch 1.02, that should be tomorrow or very soon at least, behind the scenes. And soon after, we will be providing you visible info in your match history, and eventually in other locations in the client around your overall performance for the act. Rank progress we are looking at tracking are stats such as how you climbed in rank over the act, or your number of wins along with your wins at your highest achieved rank. So this is similar to the Overwatch career profiles, or in Counter-Strike, just checking out your general stats, which you can do through various stats websites and such. And you can do this in a lot of different games, just checking how you've done the previous seasons and such. They're trying to bring that into game, and like they're saying here, they're going to start small and then go a little bit further. But it's really interesting to read the Valorant act, which spans about 2 months bit, because that means that we should be able to expect another battle pass and such in August already, because this is the Ignition act, the first act, which should span the 2 months from June 2nd to about August 2nd then. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, who knows. But point is that we can expect a lot of content, and that bigger content drop most likely in August as a result here. So yeah, really looking forward to that, and that they kind of confirmed this here. In terms of how rank changes along the way, I'm sure it won't be too crazy, but we'll see if things evolve over time. So yeah, that's cool.
When it comes to stuff coming in the future, they have spoken briefly about the ideas of fairer overtime handlings, because the system that we currently have isn't great. More top rank comparisons, stuff like leaderboards, maybe even in-client tournaments. They mentioned it's stuff that they're looking into, they want to address down the line, but nothing really too soon. But there is one particular thing that might be coming in the next patch, which by the way should, in inverted commas, be coming tomorrow, because Tuesday tends to be the Valorant patch day, that there's going to be a surrender option coming in. And I hope that it's going to be similar to the Counter-Strike one, where if somebody AFKs or leaves or gets kicked, you can then surrender if the game is going really badly.
Yeah, it seems like it. I think there were some leaks or whatever from in-client things that had been changed and that people had found by just, checking through and seeing what new assets and features had kind of been added or been worked on in the background. So this is something that we expected. It had been commented on previously as well. So it's cool to see that all this is coming into play already. Ranked is, I feel like, the piece of the puzzle that's been missing since launch. I've really been wanting it, and I'm looking forward to all this. It's going to be good.
Not only will the next patch be coming in with competitive play, there is also going to be some balance changes, no doubt more than we're expected at this point, but we do know that Viper's getting a few bits and pieces. We spoke to Morello in previous videos about her in particular, but even in the Twitch clip recently, as in like 12 hours ago, he spoke about the specifics on what we should be expecting at first with the toxic screen.
Allow her her wall to be shot through walls. That you can just pierce it through the map and it'll just leave valves everywhere along the way. So that's going to allow her a ton of new wall placement opportunities. That wall is fucking crazy strong. There may need to be more after it, but in part of our easing into balance, we think this is a very critical buff, and think when that happens, when that comes out, we need to see how she lands afterwards, because it's a very substantial change.
Not only is Viper getting that change, most people could assume that that was coming, but there is another change that I've not seen anybody speak about at all yet. It's to the snake bite, and it's really odd, actually. Just listen to the clip.
It'll apply a fragile effect. It'll last, I think, for a very, very short time after you push out of it as well. And then being shot during that time will make you take additional damage. The total damage of the Molotov itself will not be changed, because we've, the fragile, and then we did some damage adjustments, so it all works out to be the same damage, but then it'll add this new debuff, which makes it very risky to push through if being launched.
So Viper now has a new debuff available to her when she uses the snakebite, which makes characters more susceptible to damage, more fragile to damage, whilst they're stood in them. And to me, Miska, that's like really weird and maybe not even necessary.
I'm not really seeing that being at least easy to use, but I think it's going to be cool to have something new to work with. I'm thinking like this though, how often do you use the snakebite in a way where someone will like instantly be standing in it? It's pretty rare, to be honest. Most of the time with snakebite, it's maybe that someone's locked in a corner, and I guess if they get locked in a corner, you snakebite that corner or sort of around it, and then they try to walk out and cross that angle and peek you, then you should technically have an advantage, but I don't know. doesn't seem that useful. I don't know if that's what that ability needs, but hey, maybe people will find some new cool uses with this. Maybe something like the different smokes and stuff, and using this with that and then spraying through smokes. Maybe that'll be a bigger thing. I don't know. I'm sure people are going to get creative, but it seems pretty difficult to use still.
I'm really excited for the toxic screen changes though. As somebody like Viper was like the first agent I really properly played back when we got the sort of beta weekend access before anybody else was allowed in the game, right? I played a lot of her, and the wall tilted me off the face of the earth on multiple occasions because it was really buggy and wouldn't work indoors. So being able to have it pierce through buildings no matter if you're outside or inside is going to be a big help in just setting up really good executes and making it a lot better. Whether she's going to be better than Brimstone at the moment, I doubt it, but I guess we'll see. And I think we're going to have some opinions of pro players that play Viper on this channel when these changes come out to get their perspective on stuff, so keep an eye out for that. But overall, it sounds really good for Viper.
Yeah, keep an eye out for all of that. Any Viper changes and balance changes are coming in patch 1.02. The patch notes should drop tomorrow. The patch might be a little bit later on, we're not quite sure yet. Usually the patch notes come a few hours ahead of time, and then of course later on we'll hopefully have those Viper Pro sort of opinions about new changes as well on the channel, as we always like to get a second perspective on new agent changes that sort of spice up their play enough to make them feel almost reworked, or at least a whole lot better than before. Yeah, that's about it though.
Especially agents that we don't really play ourselves either. We can't say that we're really Viper experts, so we're going to get some on. But thank you very much for watching. Definitely keep an eye out for the patch video tomorrow. There tends to be quite a lot in there. And then we get to show off some of the changes on the Wednesday, no doubt. So there's plenty to come over the next couple of days. Ranked, of course, is going to be great. We'll have some tip videos on how to get better at that soon too. Thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.